After spending hundreds of millions of dollars trying to crush Steam, Epic and Xbox have finally given up on their original game plan. Epic is literally ripping out the guts of their launcher because it was built inside a game engine. And Tim Sweeney just admitted in an interview that Valve doesn't have a monopoly after all. Meanwhile, Microsoft is quietly turning Windows 11 into an Xbox interface instead of fighting Steam. So why did multi-billion-dollar giants fail to dethrone the platform? And why are their new 2026 strategies still missing the point? One of the biggest issues plaguing alternative PC storefronts has always been basic software performance. Steam users have taken instant library loading, minimal system overhead, and reliable background updates for granted for over a decade. By contrast, the Epic Games Launcher became infamous for slow load times, high resource usage, and the root cause of this bloat comes down to a fundamental choice. The Epic Games Launcher was built as an application inside Unreal Engine, rather than a lightweight native desktop app. Opening the launcher effectively meant booting up a full game engine environment just to render the digital storefront and load a list of games. In February 2026, then General Manager of the Epic Games Store, Steve Allison, addressed the launcher's state. The launcher sucks, let's call it what it is. It's really slow. Allison confirmed that Epic had begun work in October 2025 to completely strip out that bloated framework. We're ripping the guts out of the Epic Games Launcher entirely, well, mostly entirely, and replacing it. Epic's internal testing data for the upcoming Launcher V2, which is targeting a public beta in mid-August 2026, sometime around Gamescom, claims cold boot speeds are 5 to 6.5 times faster after abandoning the heavy legacy architecture. So, we should get more info on this in the coming weeks when the public beta is here. However, right as the multi-year rebuild reaches its critical testing phase, the leadership guiding it suddenly shifted. In mid-July 2026, Steve Allison quietly departed Epic Games after 8 years leading the store to become Chief Business Officer at Saber Interactive. Tim Sweeney publicly thanked Allison on X for growing the storefront to 78 million monthly active users, before announcing Martin Keely, the former head of Blizzard's Battle.net, as the new vice president and general manager of the Epic Games Store. While Allison offered standard corporate optimism about his new role at Saber, his departure right before Launcher V2's public rollout signals a definitive end to EGS's original era. Allison was the architect of Epic's aggressive exclusivity-first playbook that they are known for. Comparing Launcher V2 to Steam highlights the gap Epic is trying to close. Steam refined its lightweight store years ago, allowing users to launch games instantly without navigating through heavy store menus. When gamers switch between Steam and Epic, the performance gap instantly creates friction, so fixing their launcher addresses basic user frustration, but software speed alone brings Epic to baseline parity, rather than giving gamers a compelling reason to make Epic Game Store their primary client. The second major pillar of Epic's 2026 roadmap is adding basic community and discovery features. Unveiled during Unreal Fest in mid-June 2026, Epic's 12-month development timeline includes user-written reviews and ratings, player profiles, custom avatars, and activity feeds, improved search, library filters, and third-party patch notes. But when you look closely at these additions, it shows Epic is adding features Steam users have relied on for over a decade. Steam's user review system features algorithms that filter out off-topic review bombs, track playtime statistics at the point of review, and display historical rating trends. Beyond reviews, Steam operates as an integrated social ecosystem. Valve built Steam Workshop, native controller configuration tools with Steam input, user guides, trade markets, and public community hubs. This dynamic illustrates why developer-facing economics have not automatically shifted consumer habits. Epic continues to offer developers an 88-12 revenue split alongside programs like Epic First Run and a policy giving developers 100% of their first $1 million in net revenue. Former Epic Game Store head Steve Allison explained Epic's long-term commercial commercial goal in early 2026. Our growth is not about the exclusives. Our growth is going to come from shifting the share of sales on games shipping in both places. We're not going to topple Steam. Steam is a huge part of the PC ecosystem. It's not going away. Noting that Epic hopes to capture 30% to 40% of the PC market share over 5 years. But while developers appreciate Epic's lower revenue cuts, players buy their games where their friends list, mod libraries, and profile history already are. Epic is adding baseline store features in 2026, while Valve already spent over 2 decades building feature dependency into theirs. But on the other side of things, while Epic is focusing on store software, Microsoft is taking a different approach to PC gaming. In late July 2026, rumors circulated after comments on the Xbox 2 podcast suggested Microsoft might pull its games off of Steam to force users onto the Xbox app. The rumor was quickly clarified just to be taken out of context. Microsoft generates a lot of revenue from Steam sales for titles like Sea of Thieves, Call of Duty, and Forza, plus many more, which would make a Steam exit financially impractical. Instead, Microsoft's 2026 PC strategy focuses on integrating Xbox features directly into the Windows OS while continuing to release games on Steam. The core of this strategy is Xbox Mode on Windows 11. Xbox Mode offers a full-screen controller-optimized interface designed specifically for gaming laptops, handhelds like the ROG Ally, and desktop PCs. It aggregates games from Game Pass, the Microsoft Store, and even third-party launchers into a single interface. On July 22, 2026, Microsoft officially launched Xbox backward compatibility on PC in early access, introducing original Xbox titles to the PC ecosystem. These games feature 4x resolution upscaling, full-screen windowed options, and Xbox Play Anywhere digital cross-ownership. Leaked publisher roadmap documentation outlines upcoming phases, including a disc-to-digital program allowing physical console disc owners to claim PC licenses, alongside planned Xbox 360 backward compatibility rollouts for 2027 and 2028. So Microsoft is planning to bring some of your most iconic games to your PC. Microsoft's target with Xbox Mode is essentially just SteamOS and Big Picture Mode. Rather than trying to force players to abandon Steam, Microsoft is attempting to own the interface wrapper on Windows devices. However, Valve's work with Proton and SteamOS on the Steam Deck and now the new Steam hardware which is out gives Steam a head start in handheld UI and performance optimization, presenting a direct hurdle for Microsoft's efforts, which we see right now with new handhelds picking SteamOS over Windows for their devices. This shift in how Epic and Microsoft are trying to compete with Valve align with a broader narrative change from Epic's leadership. During the height of Epic's legal battles and antitrust campaigns against Apple and Google, Tim Sweeney regularly highlighted 30% platform fees, including Valve's standard split, as harmful to the industry. However, in his June 2026 interview with PC Gamer, Sweeney changed his framing. When discussing Valve's position in the PC ecosystem and why Epic is now advocating for an open, interconnected standard called Team Open, Sweeney said, "Steam's got a pretty sweet business. A lot of gamers love Steam, but imagine if you could have Steam on all of the platforms. What if you could have it on iPhone? What if you could have it on Android? It's now clear that nobody's going to end up with an absolute monopoly over gaming. Valve's not going to have one." 8 years after the launch of the Epic Games Store, Valve's market share remains secure. So what we're seeing here with the changes coming from Epic and Xbox in 2026 represent necessary structural fixes. Epic building a faster launcher and adding basic social features removes long-standing points of friction for players, claiming free titles or just playing Fortnite. Microsoft introducing Xbox Mode and bringing legacy console backward compatibility to PC adds tangible value for their users, yet neither strategy directly threatens Steam's market position. Valve's advantage in PC game distribution goes beyond store fees or launcher boot times. Steam's core strength is the total value of its platform features. Every time a user configures a controller through Steam Input, downloads a mod from the Steam Workshop, checks a community guide, guide or plays a game on Linux using Proton, Valve adds functional utility that competitors have not matched. When competitors focus on basic feature parity, like adding user reviews or reducing launcher load times, which would seem like obvious changes, they are working to match the experience Steam offered years ago. Epic Games Store's new vice president and general manager Martin Keely, who took over leadership in late July 2026, faces the task of executing Launcher V2 and its upcoming feature waves. However, as long as alternative storefronts focus on catching up to Steam's baseline features rather than offering a distinct functional advantage, Valve's position at the top of the PC ecosystem won't change.